What is good, everybody? What's up? MoneyE here, back with another edition of the Voices of Wrestling, episode 2. This is the AEW 2020. AEW Dynasty 2026 review. That happened. The pay per view happened on Sunday night. I'm doing this on the late Tuesday, but I'm gonna give my honest opinion on this. It was a good show. I'm gonna give match ratings and a little bit of my thoughts on each match, and out of 5 stars for each match, and then overall rating out of 10. So overall, it was a good match. It was a worthwhile pay per view with some good matches. Maybe it should have been cut down to this. It was a 9 match card, so it wasn't overly populated with matches like it usually is. Some pay per views for AEW is usually 10 to 12, and that's not including the zero power of hour, whatever they call it, 0 hour power. It was a 13 match card if you include the four pre show matches, as I call it, or the 0 hour power. So it was a 13 match card with the main card, 9 on the pay per view card, and 4 in the free version, the pre show version. So yeah, I'm not doing the the 0 hour of power matches. I'm not reviewing them. I'm reviewing the main pay per view card. That was a 9 match card. Which I was a little bit surprised it was under 10. So they just got it under 10. It was under 4.5 hours. And people keep complaining about it's too long. Well, I don't mind it because I get my money's worth. If I'm paying $40 or $50 for it, I want at least 4 hours of pay per view. I thought it was worth it. I don't think these shows are too long. I think they've gotten a little better. Getting under 5 hours. Sometimes some of the pay per views used to be 5 hours, and that I would be honest, that is too long. But just about 4.5 hours is perfect for a $40 card. If you're paying $40, $50, I think that 4.5 hours is perfect. But some people want it shorter. I don't know how many hours. What, you want 3 hours? And what? 6 matches? No. I want 8 to 10 matches. 4 to 4.5 hours is right on the money for me. So it just went under 4.5 hours, about 4 hours and 20 minutes, give or take. So yeah, I don't think they're too long. I don't think 4 hours is overly too long, but I will say they should start at 6 or 7 o'clock. Start the pre-show at 6 and the pay-per-view at 7 if you're going to do it Sundays. I understand why they do it on Sundays because of UFC. At least that's what I'm thinking. Why they do it on Sundays? Because they used to do it on Saturdays. They moved it Sundays, and then they moved it back to Saturday for a couple pay-per-views, and then moved back to Sundays. I don't mind Sundays, but I prefer Saturday. But I understand why they don't want to go up against UFC. So if you're going to do a pay-per-view on Sunday, I would highly recommend doing it at 7. Tony, I know you're not watching this, but I think the 7 o'clock start is perfect, especially in the West. If you're going East Coast, if the pay per view is on the East Coast, you might even want to start at 6. That way people can get at it on the arena at 10 by 10 o'clock, before 11. Hit that traffic, so they can get home at a reasonable time. If you're doing the West Coast, I would say 7. East Coast, I would say 6. But I don't think they're ever going to do a 6 o'clock pay per view time. 7, I think 7's perfect for a Sunday. You get out of there by 11. You're done by 11:30. Um, I think the bigger pay per view, like All In, Double or Nothing, Full Gear, and Revolution, you might want to think about putting them on Saturdays because they're the bigger card, they're the bigger event. That way, on Saturday, you can have, if you want to have, God forbid, 5 hours again. But I don't think they would do 5 hours again. Maybe for All In they would, but I don't think so. I think they've been keeping it under 4.5 lately. I've noticed the pay-per-views I've been watching, it's been done by 12:30, so which is fine with me. I'm not faded out by the main event like other people, and everybody's different. So, but with that said, let's start the first match: Young Bucks versus Okada and Kashishna. I'm not even saying that right. I'm botching that name, but let's see. Screen. So this was a good opener, very good opener. I enjoyed it. Fun interaction with the Young Bucks and Okada, considering they used to be aligned. Sensational and Okada had they worked together, and then they started to slowly not work together. And then at one point in the match, they actually threw punches at each other. I love the storyline between those two. It's been a 2-year build between the two. They had a match at the Continental quarterfinals. I want to say, yeah, no, semifinals of the Continental tournament in December. That was their first interaction. I was since Okada won that match. We're gonna have the second match soon. Probably at Double or Nothing, and then at All In. So I'm assuming Tasheshna is going to win the second one, and then you have the rubber match at All In. Maybe a 2 out of 3 falls match at All In. The international title. So I think Tasheshna is going to win the international title at Double or Nothing, and then retain it at All In. But I had to predict what's going to happen with the feud. They're slowly turning Tasheshna face, which I love because I think he's a good wrestler. I think him and Okada have good chemistry, and I think the build they have done for this is really, really good. The storytelling between the two is really good. And once Sensational gets kicked out of the Don Callis family, which I think is probably going to happen tomorrow on Dynamite. I think he's going to get a big pop for that. I think he's going to be a big baby face. I think he's already popular, so I think he's going to get a big pop when he turns baby face. Yeah, this is probably going to drop on early Wednesday after midnight on Wednesday. So I was planning on doing this on last night. Earlier tonight, but I was hungry. So after the show we did on the WrestleMania, I did a WrestleMania through the years with Daniel, Doug, and Clint. We did a live show, part 2. So WrestleMania 9 to 20. I was going to do it after, but I was hungry, so I ate and then got caught up watching TV. So it's probably going to drop after midnight. So which is okay. And then I'm probably going to do another one later on tomorrow afternoon called Should Darby Allin Beat MJF for the AEW World Title, which will take place tomorrow in Washington, in Darby Allin's hometown. So I'll talk about that, and then possibly an NBA playoff preview tomorrow or Thursday. I'm not sure yet. Maybe Daniel will join me. But either way, I'm going to do that either tomorrow night or Thursday. So, yeah. So as I said, the match was high paced, high flying, as usual for a Young Bucks match. Concessional and Okada great in the ring, have great chemistry with Young Bucks. This is a fun opener. Crowd was into it. I loved it. I've been I've been an on and off Young Bucks fan, so I gave this as I put earlier 4 out of 5. I thought it was a good opener, solid match, 4 out of 5, banger. It was a banger opener. I thought all 4 guys did well. I thought all 4 guys showed their talent, especially Tasheshna and Okada. Said the storyline between the two, fantastic. I love it. Can't wait until Tasheshna turns fully babyface. So, as I said, he's gonna get a big pop when he does. Second match in the card is the return of Chris Jericho to the ring. He returned 2 weeks ago, and then he returned 2 weeks ago in his hometown of Winnipeg. And he promo last week. He challenged Ricochet, and then he faced Ricochet at Dynasty. So it was the first time in the ring in about I think over a year. I want to say over a year, just about a year, over a year, about that time period, about 12 months. So we'll say that. I'm not quite sure how long he was out for, so I'm going to say about 12 months, just about 12 months, maybe even a little over 12 months, or a little over a year. Chris Jericho looked good in here. He looked in great shape. He looked like he still can go in the ring. Ricochet looked fantastic. This was a fantastic match right after the opener. I thought both guys brought it. I thought Chris Jericho always brings it. He looked good. He looked better than he's looked better than he has in the last couple of years. This is probably the best Chris Jericho we've seen in, I would say, 2 years. He looked great, and Ricochet looked great too. It was a good solid match. Better than I thought. I thought Chris Jericho, as I said, looked good. For a 55-year-old, and for a guy that's been out of the ring for a year, he looked good. He brought it, and he still has it in the ring. For his age, I give this what did I give it? I gave it 3.5 out of 5. And then Ricochet doing the Lion Salt at the end. Lion Salt at the end to beat Chris Jericho. I thought that was fantastic. Fantastic storyline. We'll see what happens on Dynamite with Chris Jericho. See how he reacts to Ricochet landing the Lion Salt. Do they continue the feud, or does Chris Jericho look for another opponent? We'll see. And is Chris Jericho really a face, or has he been acting? We don't know. We'll see. As I said, good match to follow the opener. So two good matches to start the show. Even though I give this a 3.5, it's still a solid. It was still a solid match. Still a solid match. The match wasn't as high flying as the opener, but it was a solid match. It was a Chris Jericho solid match. Ricochet showed his high flying abilities. Yeah, I love the match. this much of the opener. So good start to the pay-per-view. 2 good matches. Next pay-per-view, next pay-per-view is Double or Nothing on March 24th. There you go. Not March, May 24th. It's the next pay-per-view live from New York. Next match is Darby Allin versus Andrade. If Darby Allin wins this match, he gets the AEW World Title shot, as I said earlier. And obviously, I gave that away. He won the match, and he already has his opportunity for a world title match, and he's cashing it in for tomorrow night in his hometown of Tacoma, Washington, if I'm not mistaken. Is it Tacoma? Let me see. Hold on. Let's see. Tacoma. I want to say Tacoma. I don't know why I said Tacoma. Or Seattle. Where are they tomorrow? He's from Seattle, but I think they're just outside Seattle tomorrow. AEW Dynasty. Let's see. 26. Everett, Washington. They're going to be from Everett, Washington. I think that's right outside Seattle. So it's Darby Allin's hometown. Let me see. I know Swerve Strickland is from Seattle. I don't want to talk about this match too much. I'm going to do a whole video about should he win, and I'll give my thoughts on both sides. Yeah, see that Swerve Strickland from Tacoma. That I thought one of them was Tacoma. So this match was hard hitting from Andrade. As Andrade, this match was hard hitting. Great match. This was another great match. Darby, as always, risk taker. Andrade, hard hitting wrestler, but he can bring it in the ring. He is a good mat wrestler too. He is a good wrestler. He is one of the best wrestlers in the world. Andrade. He's finally settling in AEW after after being WWE, going to AEW, going back to WWE, now back in AEW. I think he's finally settled in. I think he's finally gonna get a push. And hopefully he'll get a singles run with a title. Maybe not international title. Maybe he'll be Moxley for the Continental Championship, or maybe he'll beat Kenny, or he'll beat the TNT champion, which I'll bring up later. The new TNT champion. Because Kyle Fletcher unfortunately had to vacate the title because of the injury. He could be out for several months, so best wishes to him and speedy recovery because I'm a big Kyle Fletcher fan. So I hope he comes back soon. I won't reveal who won that match. It was a casino gauntlet match. So hopefully Andrade will get a TNT title shot soon. He deserves to be a babyface. He's another guy that's going to be leaving the Downtown family soon, I think, and he's going to be a babyface to take positional. So I think a good singles run by Andrade with the TNT title will be great. I think he deserves it. Just like Positional, I'm going to get a good run with the international title. So both guys are going to leave Don Callis family and do a singles run with titles. From single titles, mid-card titles. And maybe one of them will win the world title at some point. Who knows? But as I said, this was a hard fought victory by Darby Allin. I gave this 3.75 out of 5. 3.75 out of 5. So 3/4. 3 3/4. So it basically it's 3.75 out of 5. Good match. Hard hitting by Andrade, risk taking by Darby, good storytelling in the ring. Can Darby get that victory and earn a title shot? And then Darby wins it, and Andrade puts out his hand for a handshake, and he gives the handshake to Darby and walks away. It seems like Andrade is going to turn babyface soon, just like Tashishna. As I said, keep repeating myself, but whatever. Yeah, so hard hitting match with a lot of risk taking by Darby, as always, because he's a risk taker. That's what he does. That's his style. Um, Good win by Darby. Do I think he should win the title? I'll do a video on that tomorrow. Andrade looked good. He's looked better than he has in years. This is his best. I think this is the best Andrade since his NXT run. I really do. I think this is the best Andrade we've seen since his NXT run. His WWE main run, his first main roster run, was okay. And then he went to AEW, his first AEW run. And then he left, went back to WWE. Now he's back in AEW. And I think he's been good since he come back. So, good win by Darby. As I said, 3.75 out of 5. Next match was for the tag team titles. Copeland Cage, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage versus the FTR and Hardwood and Cash. Oh, yeah. That Cash Wheeler and Dox Hardwood versus Copeland. There's Adam Copeland and Christian Cage for the AEW World Tag Team titles. This is the story. This is the feud that's been brewing for a very long time. This is a feud that dated back since last summer when FTR turned on Adam Copeland, and then Christian Cage and Adam reunited, and they fought FTR at in Toronto last September. Let's see. That is September. Oh, they fought all in last year. Not all out. Right? Check. Last year they fought all out in Toronto, where Adam Copeland and Christian Cage beat them in Toronto, in their hometown. So they got their first victory, and then FTR took them out. They took out Adam Copeland. He missed 4 months, and Christian Cage missed that same period of time. And then they injured his Adam Copeland's wife in what's her name? Shoot. Forgot her name. How do I forget her name? Mm. Mm-hmm. What? What is her name? Oh. Huh. What's her name? I forgot now. Beth Phoenix. That's right. They injured Beth Phoenix. They power drive her injured Adam Copeland, like I said, without for what, 4 months. So they just recently came back a couple of weeks ago. Challenged FTR for the world tag team titles here at Dynasty. And this was a good tag team match. Really good. I enjoyed this match. Good storytelling. I really saw Adam Copeland and Christian Cage would win, but it wasn't meant to be. I thought they would win because they were in Canada, and 1 and 2. I thought they were gonna be given the titles, but I guess not yet. I guess they're gonna continue the feud, and everybody's speculating it's probably gonna be a triple threat match at All In between those two teams, and then Young Bucks will be added. I agree. I think it's probably gonna be a ladder match or some type of TLC match, their own version of TLC. I don't think they'll call it TLC because I don't think they can, but it's going to be some sort of ladder match with tables and ladders into it or something. You can just call it ladder match and just have chairs and tables. You don't have to not have them because it's ladder match. It's like no rules. So I think it's gonna be a triple threat ladder match at All In at the very least. It's gonna be a triple threat ladder match with tables and chairs added. So probably. And I think Edge and not Edge, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage will get one last shot at the titles. One at Double or Nothing. I think they win at Double or Nothing and defend it out All In where the Young Bucks win. So that's how I think it's gonna go. I think Adam Copeland and Christian Cage get one more shot against them by themselves. They win at All In New York, and then they hold the titles until All In. What did I say? All In. That's it. They're gonna win it at Double or Nothing in New York, at Louis Arch Stadium, where the U.S. Open is. They're gonna win it there, and then Young Bucks are gonna be inserted into the rematch. It's gonna be the rubber match between the two, and then FTR is gonna maybe be out. Maybe they'll disappear for a month or two, and then come back, and then it's gonna be FTR versus Young Bucks versus Copeland and Page in the ladder match. Flash TLC. I don't think they can call it that, as I said. So I think it's gonna be a triple threat ladder match at All In, where Young Bucks win at All In. Adam Copeland and Christian Cage win at Double or Nothing. So that's what I think. And I gave this a 3.35. I gave this 3.5 stars. As I said, good tag team match, good story. Edge got, I keep saying Edge. Adam Copeland got hit by the belt. It wasn't a blade job. It was a real cut. He got hit by the belt and it cut him open so good, and he was bloodied. That was the only blood that we saw in this pay-per-view. I don't know when the last time we didn't really see blood in the pay-per-view where there actually was supposed to be blood. Copeland wasn't supposed to bleed. That was a mistake. The only other time we've seen blood was when Darby was bleeding from the mouth and Mox was bleeding from the mouth. We'll talk about that one later. But other than that, there wasn't any blood in the pay-per-view. So AEW can do a pay-per-view without having blood, and that mean blood. I mean where blood is supposed to happen, where they blade go. And Copeland didn't blade. He didn't blade and blade himself. He didn't make himself bleed. It was a shot to the head, and the belt hit him and cut him open. So it wasn't a blade job. So yeah. So other than that, if that didn't happen, there wouldn't have been any blood in this pay per view besides bleeding from the mouth, and that doesn't really count. As I said, I give this 3.5 out of 5. Really solid tag team match, and good for FTR winning. And I think Copeland and Cage get a rematch at another match at Double or Nothing, the brother match, maybe 2 out of 3 falls, and then Copeland and Cage finally win the tag team titles at Double or Nothing, and then as you said, triple threat at All In for the Young Bucks regain their titles and become 4-time champions or 3 times? I forget. How many times have they? I think they went 3. So they would be the first 4-time champions, I think. So they've won it 3 times, and FTR won it 3 times. So they would be the first 4-time champions. Really good match. So really good start to the pay per view. 4 good solid matches. I have nothing to complain about. Now this is where I complain a little bit. I'm not gonna nitpick too much. But I don't think this match should have been on the card. I think they've been doing too many casino gauntlet, casino battle royals. I think this should have been. I think this should have been just a plain old ladder match, a 6-man ladder match, or even a 4-person match ladder match, or 6. So you would have Ciampa. You would have had the actual person who won. Kevin Knight, Speed, Rush, and the other 2 I forget. Let me see. Let me see who was in the match. I think it should have been a 6-man. This man, yeah, I think it should have been a 6-man ladder match, not casino, not this casino gauntlet. Where is it? I don't even know who was in the. Yeah, so you would have Kevin Knight, Ciampa, Rush, Roosh, Speed, Daniel Garcia, and Pac. Oh, you have Pac, maybe Daniel Garcia, or whoever the other guy was. They've had too many of these. This had one 20. Okay, the last one they had was 2025 for the inaugural national championship. Okay. And then they had one. They had 3 last year. 3 of these casino gauntlet matches. They need to stop. They had 3 in 2024. No, 1, 2, 3, 4 in 2024. They had 2 back to back months where Will Ospreay won both. And then they had one in August. And then they had one in September. And they had one in January. And they had one in July, where that's where MJF won their contract. And then November, and then April, Kevin Knight won the title. So I think they've had too many of these casino gauntlet matches. As I said, it should have just been in the same casino ladder match. Casino tag team. They've had too many of these casino battle royals, casino ladder matches, casino gauntlet matches. I think it should have been just a regular ladder match between Kevin Knight, Speed, Ciampa, Pac, Roosh, and if you want to say Daniel Garcia, Daniel Garcia. It should have been a 6-person ladder match, maybe in 5. You want to pick out Garcia, but it should have been a 6-person, 6-man ladder match for that TNT title. That would have been more fun. I thought this match was kind of boring because I think you had too many people in it. I think it was a surprise that Kevin Knight won. I'm happy for him. I like Kevin Knight. I think he's a good wrestler. But the match itself, I think sucked. Not sucked, but I don't think it was ass. But I thought it was just average. I thought it was boring at the time. This is probably the first time in the pay-per-view I was bored. There was not really any surprises. Besides surprise that who won, Kevin Knight. Then congratulations to him. I'm very happy for him. I think him winning was great. I think the match just wasn't all that great. I've seen these matches too many times. I give it 2.5 stars out of 5. Right? 2.5 out of 5. Yeah, I give it 2.5 out of 5. This is my lowest rating match so far. And yeah, I didn't enjoy this match all that great. I didn't enjoy this match very much. As I said, I was bored with this match. It was okay. I'm not gonna hit on it too much. It was an average match. I'm glad. I thought Ciampa or Rush was gonna win, but I'm happy that Kevin Knight won. I think it was a nice surprise that he won. So good for Kevin Knight. Good for that surprise, Tony Khan. Next, it's a women's world title match between Jamie Hayter and Tekla. If I said that right, is it Tekla? Tekla? After this match, I've become a fan of her. I think she's a good wrestler. I think she's very entertaining in the ring. She's different. And obviously she won. She retained the title against Jamie Hayter. I thought Jamie Hayter might have won this match. Might win this match, but I'm happy. I like both women. So I've become a fan of Tekla. I'm not saying that, but I think I'm botching her name. Tekla retains the women's world title. I think she's gonna lose to MoneyE at All In. I think she'll challenge. I think MoneyE's gonna come back tomorrow, or now it's midnight. So I think tonight and Dynamite, I think MoneyE comes back. It's his long waited return. I think she's been out for 2 months. It seems like it's been 2 or 3 months. I think she's been out. She's lost all her titles. She was the belt collector for the women's division. Now she's lost all her titles. Now she's going to go after the world title. Now she's focusing on the world title. And I think she's coming back to the babyface. I think she's slowly going to turn babyface. I think she's finally going to win that title at All In. I think her first chance, she's going to lose it. She's going to lose again, but then she's either going to get a title shot on, no, win the Owen Cup and get her title shot at All In and finally win it. So I think MoneyE gonna be want to take it from Tesla. It's not Tesla. Tekla. Tekla. I think I'm still saying that wrong, but I've become a fan of her. I think she's really hard hitting. She can hit. When she hits hard. She hits hard. She is. I think she is fantastic in the ring. I think she's entertaining. I think the right person won. I like Jamie Hayter, but I don't think it was the right time for a title change because I think the title change should be MoneyE. I think she's a really good wrestler in the ring. I think she's talented and entertaining. After this match, I become a fan of Tekla. Whatever her however you say her name, Tekla. I keep botching the name. I give this match a I give this is another 3.5-star match. I said really good match, really good story in the ring. I thought both women brought it. I thought both women brought their A game. I thought both women worked hard in the ring, especially Tesla. As I said, she's a hard hitting wrestler. She can hit, and I wouldn't want to get hit by her because she can hit. She can hit. She is a hard hitter, and I've become a fan. And I'm a fan of her. I think she's starting to get over with the fans, and when she finally faces MoneyE, I think that's gonna be a fantastic match, and I can't wait for that match. I really can't. Next match, my favorite match on the card. My favorite wrestler in AEW, Will Ospreay. I shouldn't say my favorite. He's my tied with my favorite. Adam Page is my favorite. Adam Page and Will Ospreay are my two favorites. So they're both tied. I can't pick. So Adam, yeah. This is for the Continental AEW Continental Championship between Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay is looking for revenge. This was a great match. Great storytelling, great chemistry, great psychology in the ring by both guys. Hard hitting, hard fought match. You had everything in this match. You had mat wrestling, you had high flying, you had risk taking. There were some spots where you're like, ooh, should they be doing that? Like the power driver on the steel steps by Jon Moxley to Will Ospreay. That was scary. That I can't lie. That was scary. Will Ospreay coming back from neck surgery, so that them doing that. Ugh. I'm sure it was approved. I'm sure Will Ospreay approved it, but he is a risk taker himself, so he will, of course, say yes. I'm sure he's the one that said they should do that spot, but I'm not sure they should have done that spot. I'm on the fence if they should have done it, but I'm not going to complain about it because I thought it fit perfectly with the story because it was his neck and they were telling the story with his neck, so it actually fit perfectly with his neck injury. As I said, should they have done it? Yeah. But as I said, it fit the storyline because of his neck injury and him, Jon Moxley doing that again. Jon Moxley doing that to Will Ospreay on the step when Will Ospreay was about to do that. Jon Moxley on the step. Will Ospreay was trying to injure Jon Moxley's neck, and I think he was going for the Tiger Driver on the steel steps, but Jon Moxley countered into his own power driver on the step. So great match, great storytelling by both guys. Chemistry between these two is fantastic. Psychology, great. Chemistry, great. I love this match. Up and down the card. I had no complaints about this match. Besides maybe that spot with the steel steps, but I'm not gonna complain. I'm not gonna complain that much. Complain about it. If I had to nitpick, it would be that. I'm not gonna nitpick this match. Will Ospreay, the first 10 seconds, I mean, he started the match with an elbow right to Jon Moxley's face. And it looked like he could cover and win in 10 seconds, but he didn't go for the cover. He just stood there and he wanted to beat Jon Moxley. He wanted to beat him up. He wanted to injure him. I think he focused on injuring him too much. But Will Ospreay didn't need to win the title. So I'm glad he didn't win the title. And Continental Championship is the 20-minute time limit. It was no people, nobody allowed at ringside. So that's Continental rules. So 20-minute time limit. They were about 2 minutes away from being time limit draw. And I would have been for that. I thought it was going to be a draw. But Jon Moxley pulled it out. He got after the power driver on Will Ospreay, he brought him back in the ring. He did 2 Paradigm shifts, I think, or DDTs. He did 2 of them, and then he did another move. I forgot what it's called, but he knocked out Will Ospreay, finally won, and he retained the title. And Will Ospreay's laying in the ring, I think, grabbing on his neck, and the doctors are coming in and checking him, and Moxley walks away. I think we see one more match between these two at Double or Nothing. Maybe do they dare to do a test death match? Do they? I don't know. I don't think they should do another match because I don't think the title should be on the line because I don't think Will Ospreay should win it. I think Will Ospreay's gonna. I just said with MoneyE, I think Will Ospreay's gonna win the Owen Cup. He failed last year. I think he's gonna win it this year. He lost to Handman last year in the finals. I think he's gonna win it this year. I think he's gonna beat Jon Moxley in the finals. I think that's where they're gonna have the final match in the finals of the Owen Cup. At least as far as we know, we think that the Owen Cup grants the winner a championship shot at All In, just like last year, the men's are winning. The fans are assuming that. I'm assuming that they're doing the same thing they did last year. So we'll see. I give this a 4.75 out of 5. I thought this was a what am I doing? I give this a 4.75 out of 5. I thought this was the best match on the card, or tied for the best match on the card. Because we'll get to the one that tied this. But great match, fantastic match. As I said, I think their next match is going to be in the Owen Cup final, where the winner gets touched at All In against MJF, or against whoever the world champion is. Yeah, so the winner will get a world title shot at All In against whoever the champion is. I'm assuming it's gonna be MJF. So we'll see. I think it should be MJF. And it's gonna be in England, August 30th, in London, England, at Wembley Stadium. So story writes itself, AEW. The story writes itself, Tony Khan. Don't mess this up just like WWE did with Cody and Randy. Now, I don't want to talk about that because I did a separate video of that last week. And it's not about WWE. This is AEW. I'll do a WWE vet. I'll do one later, probably this week. 1 or 2 WWE ones. This is AEW. I want to focus solely on AEW. The co-main event was the trios match. With Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong with a mystery partner versus the Dogs of um, David Finn, not it's Dog, David Finley, Clark Corners, and Gabe Kidd, the trios champions. They just they just had won it the previous night on Collision, so they won it from, ironically, they won it from Kevin Knight and I forgot whoever they beat. So they defended the titles next night at Dynasty against Orange Cassidy and Rod Strong and the mystery partner. That mystery partner was the return of Kyle O'Reilly. Vancouver's own Kyle O'Reilly returns after several months on the shelf with an injury, ironically, against, to Moxley. Remember last time we saw my Kyle O'Reilly, he made John Moxley tap out in the cage. In the I think it was cage, what wasn't it? It was the what do you call it? War game. Or their version of War Games. I forgot what it's called now. Shit. Playing it, I think. AEW War Game. Oh, Blood and Guts. It was Blood and Guts. Right? Is that their version? Blood and Guts is their version of War Game. Yeah, so I think that's the last time we saw Kyle O'Reilly was making Don Moxley tap out to win the Blood and Guts for the team. So good to see Kyle O'Reilly return. He's the only Canadian that won on this card. Chris Jericho lost. Brennan Cage lost. And we'll see with Kevin with not Kevin with Kenny Omega in the main event. But so far he was the only Canadian that won, and he's from Vancouver, so it was good return. Good to see him return in his home country, in his hometown of Vancouver. So good to see Colorado. I've always been a Colorado fan. It's always based in its beautiful. Yeah, cool. It's fantastic. So he joined Orange Cassidy and Ryan Strong. They're called the camaraderie. And they won. They won this match. I thought it was a good match. Not my favorite match. It wasn't awful. It wasn't bad. It wasn't. I thought it was a good, solid match. Good to see. All six guys did a good job. I think Gabe Kidd got injured in the match, in the middle of the match, so that took away the match a little bit. But I give this three out of 5. I might have to rewatch it. I give it a 3 out of 5 from what I saw. I want to rewatch it. Maybe I change my mind, but for this show, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. As I said, solid match before the main event. So good, solid match. My favorite match on the card, but I didn't hate it either. I didn't really hate any match in this pay-per-view. So, and finally, the main event between Kenny Omega, the god of wrestling, versus the devil himself, MJF, the world champion, MJF. Another great match between these two. They had a great match before on Collision. I have to watch that match again, but everybody says that was a great match. These two have always had great chemistry. I love this match. This match is great. Great storytelling by both guys. MJF continues to get better and better. Kenny Omega This is the best Kenny Omega we've seen in about 2 years. I'm gonna say 2 years. This is the best Kenny Omega we've seen in 2 years. Okay. I'm not gonna say Kenny Omega looked great, but he looked like he was his back to his when he won the championship. That this is the closest thing we've seen to Kenny Omega, world champion Kenny Omega, world AEW world champion Kenny Omega in a while. So this is the closest thing we've seen. Closest Kenny Omega, closest AEW world champion Kenny Omega we've seen in a long time. He looked great in the ring. He sold um his stomach in I can't pronounce the name, so I'm not gonna botch it. But his stomach condition, he sold that real good. Both guys sold their injuries, or both guys did fantastic in the ring. Both guys did. The psychology in this match was fantastic. Storytelling, fantastic. Um, I just love everything about this match just as much as I did with Will Ospreay and John Moxley. I also give this a 4.75 out of 5. I thought this was tied for no. Did I give it 4? I might have given this 4.5. I thought I gave this a 4. Hold on. I'm gonna have to correct myself. Yeah, I gave this a 4.5 out of 5. Never mind. So the Will Ospreay and John Moxley is the best match on the card, in my opinion. This is the second best match on the card. Very close to getting it to 4.75, but I kind of wanted Kenny Omega to win, but I've always been a Kenny Omega fan, but I kind of wanted to see a surprise here and see Kenny Omega win. But at the same time, I think and the right person won. So part of me wanted Kenny Omega to win, but at the same time, I knew MJF was the right person to win. They were disappointed that I really thought that Swerve or Adam or even both were gonna cost Kenny Omega. When we saw that ref bump, I knew there was gonna be a ref bump in this match. I knew it. I knew there was gonna be a ref bump in this match. Kind of predictable with the ref bump, but I thought when that ref bump happened, I thought Adam Page was gonna return. We haven't seen him since he lost to MJF at Revolution in the Texas Death Match. We haven't seen him since. Swerve we haven't seen since he lost to Kenny Omega at Revolution, so we haven't seen both neither. I think we might have seen Swerve that Dynamite, but I'm gonna guess. I forget if we saw Swerve after the Revolution, but I know we haven't seen Adam Page since Revolution. I thought this was gonna be his return. I thought he was gonna turn heel and turn on Kenny Omega, costing the title and start that feud. I'm waiting for that feud to start. They need to make that happen. Kenny Omega, Adam Page feud needs to happen again. But this time Adam Page is the heel. So I'm hoping that happens soon. I'm hoping it's gonna be Kenny Omega versus Adam Page at All In. I'm hoping that when Adam Page comes back, he turns on Kenny Omega. He comes back as a face, slowly turns on Kenny Omega, and then finally turns on Kenny Omega, set up the All In match. I actually thought Swerve was going to come back too, and maybe both of them cost Kenny Omega and start this power duo between Adam Page and Swerve, which I would love. I've been calling that for a while. I want both of them to team up. I think they're both the most dangerous guys in the company. I think the power duo. I think both of them together would be fantastic. It would be like Triple H and Austin did after WrestleMania 17. I forget what you call it, but I don't call it power duo. If they teamed up, I thought they were going to come back and cost Kenny Omega. I thought it was going to be at least. I thought it was going to be one of them or both. And Power Trips or whatever. I forgot Power Duo was Austin and what are they called? The Power Trip. Yeah, so I thought they were going to be the version of Triple H and Austin. And we still could get that. We still could get them coming back tomorrow or tonight and confronting Kenny Omega. They could attack Kenny Omega. There's still a possibility where we see that happen. I would love it. I would love Swerve and Adam Page team up, even if it's for a few months. Just team up. Just team up. This could be the most dangerous duo in AEW history. Two guys who feuded for over a year that hated each other team up would be fantastic. That's the two most dangerous guys in the company. And when I mean dangerous, I mean you don't want to mess with them. You know they're vicious. They will eat you a lot. They will make you bleed. That's what I mean when dangerous. And I think Moxley's up there too. But Swerve Strickland and Adam Page working together would be, I think that would be gold. I would love it. Would love it. But yeah, like I said, main event was great. 4.5 out of 5. Another great match. The second best match on the card. Third with Young Bucks and Young Bucks versus Okada and Tashishino. I think every match was good besides the Casino Gauntlet. That was the only one I gave under 3. Everything else was good. Trios match was second worst, I guess you want to say. I only gave it a 3. Kind of bored with that match too, but it's still a good match. So I thought they should have took out, as I said, the Gauntlet match should have been the ladder match, and I don't think they needed the Trios match. But I understand why they had it, because they wanted to bring Kyle O'Reilly back in Vancouver. So I understand that part. So overall, good, very good pay per view. I give this 8 out of 10. Yeah, AEW continues to put out good pay per views. I was satisfied. Worth the money. Thank you, Tony Khan, again. For MoneyE, I'm out. I'll be back later this afternoon to talk about Darby Allin and if he should win the AEW title. I'll give both sides, and then I'll give my overall take on if he should or shouldn't. And then I'm planning on doing another one. Planning on doing the WWE, where I talk about where WWE has lost their WWE can't do good storyline, do good stories anymore. Or lack of stories. I don't know what I'm gonna call it yet. And then I had another idea with has WWE has the WWE Hall of Fame lost its specialness? What does WWE Hall of Fame still feel special? I think I might do that too on Thursday. I might do 2 on Thursday for WWE. I might do that Friday before I do the other wrestling show. So, and I'm doing a hockey show on Friday too. So, a lot of shows coming up here on the Unscripted Sports Show and on the Wrestling 30 Years, WrestleMania 30 Years, Part 3 on this Friday, 21 through 41, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, unless we change the time, maybe 6, I don't know. But Yeah, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the Wrestling 30 Years YouTube channel. And then I'll be doing NBA preview, either Daniel or just myself, either tomorrow night or tonight or tomorrow. And then a couple more several more episodes of the Voices of Wrestling coming up. Episode 3 will be Darby Allin. Did Darby Allin win the AEW? Darby Allin beat MJF for the AEW Championship. And then episode 4 will be WWE's Lack of Stories. And then episode 5, maybe, it's still a maybe, but episode 3 and 4 are doing. But episode 5, I'm thinking of doing is a WWE Hall of Fame still special. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet, but who knows? That's still 50-50. But episode 3 and 4 will be out tomorrow, and then today, and then Thursday. Right, yeah. And I might do a Friday. If not the Hall of Fame, I might do another. I might come up with something else. So a lot of shows coming up here on the Unfiltered Sports Show and on the Wrestling 30 Years, and then of course when Tunes Combined, Our Power on Saturday, right before WrestleMania, special time 4 p.m. start time, and matches this week. Matches this week. Episode 34, right? Episode 34. Our Power, Muppet Babies versus Bobby's World, Code Gus versus Ricky and Morty the anime, Mike Lou and Oz versus Ed, and Eddie, G.I. Joe, Real American versus DuckTales, on a Showdown, episode 34, which will take place next Wednesday, the 22nd, will be Fairly Odd Parents versus Impossible, Hunter X Hunter versus Reed of Healer, X Squad versus Pirates of Darkwater, Nemo and Puma versus Tiny Toons Adventures, Fat Albert and the Cosmic Kids versus Super Friends. And that will be Showdown episode 34. Episode 33, which will come out later at lunchtime at 12 noon, will be episode 33, and that will be Space Ghost versus Hong Kong Fooey, Claymore versus Butler, Lewis the Spider versus Dora the Explorer, Jimmy Gummy Adventures of Billy and Maddie versus Venus and well, I can't pronounce that. Then Sonic Saturday AM with Eastern Third Pet. So check those out, and then find me on X at money_E85, on TikTok at MoneyE 6-pack pics, and then check out my YouTube shorts where I put my pics, and I put them on TikTok too. Follow me on subscribe to me. Follow me on Twitch at T8. TCAX MoneyE on Twitch. Dave, follow him on Twitch at Godsent95. Follow Sean on Twitch at Reaper. No, Dave at TCSA Godsent95, and Sean at TCAX Reaper on Twitch and on TikTok. So check them out. And then Diddle97 on Twitch and YouTube. Check them out. And then Stavcast with me and Daniel on Sunday. So MoneyE, I'm out. That went longer than I